Hello and welcome to Coffee with Carey. The spark. That's what everybody talks about. What do they want on a first date? They need to feel a spark. There's a small problem with this. The spark, it's a lie. People are misleading you about this spark. Let's talk about that. You need the spark. You want to know what the spark is. You're curious about this spark. You're certain you need the spark. You've never really understood the spark. You want to know what the spark means to someone like me, matchmaker and a dating coach. Am I supplying the spark? Let's talk all about the spark and why it's either a mystical, magical thing or a complete and total lie. If that's at all intriguing or interesting, stick around. The spark is on the agenda. I think we should start by defining the spark. My definition here says that it's a trace of a specified quality or an intense feeling. I think you'd agree with the intense feeling. Doesn't everybody want to feel something fantastic on a first date, a real connection, something strong that's already pulling you towards this person, knowing that you have somebody really special across the table or walking next to you. This really makes you feel like you found somebody with whom you have a great connection. It feels perfect and like you've known each other before, or there's really going to be magic in your relationship in the future. But really, on a first date, you think you're going to feel all of that? On a first date where people typically show up nervous, worried about what the other person's thinking about them, in their own head half the time, thinking about what questions they had written or thought about when they were in the shower earlier, where they're worried if their cleavage is showing. He's wondering if he should have shaved again before he showed up at 7 o'clock. Did I perspire too much when I was running over here? Do you think maybe I have a little aroma that I wasn't prepared to bring with me here to this other person? So much going on, so much new to discover about somebody, and you're going to really be wondering if there is something magical or intense going on a first date. Seems really unfair to me. So is it a lie in this scenario? No, but it's not to be expected in my world, matching people. Let's move on to number 2 and see if this starts to make sense to you. Do you also want a partner who shares your worldview, your aspirations, the same goals, the same financial values, family values, learning experiences, activities, all the things that you want in a partner to make sure that they align with yours? But also there has to be some type of a magical spark similarity between you, something really, really intense. That's a lot to ask, especially when you think about, for years and years, arranged marriages were more the norm, that there was absolutely no spark at all. There were families arranging relationships between two younger people, typically, who didn't know each other. Their families knew each other, or they may know this person from the neighborhood or family friends, but they were matched because other people thought they had enough in common that they could build a happy life together, create a family, and get along for 50 years or more. And the interesting thing about that is that those people typically later in a marriage report great happiness with that relationship, because you know what they weren't expecting when they met that person initially, and maybe even in the very early stages, a spark. Did they develop a spark over time? Very often they did, they say. But they allowed it time to develop. They allowed time to get to know this person and create a relationship prior to the spark. You know, I think also we're talking about very young people here. But next on my list of why the spark is just this weird, unnatural thing to be gauging a match on is because a lot of times people are getting out there dating on their second, looking for their second long-term relationship. People who've been divorced before or lost a partner, they want to fall in love again. They want to have the second great love or romance of their life. And you know what happens between the first time and the second time? They've gotten older, as we all do. We're all getting older. I think once you're over, I'd say 40 years old perhaps, the order things happen, the way you become attracted to a person changes. At 40 or 50 years old, most of my clients aren't leading with that physical connection, with that spark, of physicality or sensuality. They're leading with life experiences, a connection of mind, a great conversational connection, and then finding that they have similar values around family, adventure, money, things they like to do with their free time, goals they have for themselves. And then the spark is something that they feel as they get to know this person better. Sometimes by the end of the second date, they're starting to feel some interesting connection or intense feeling. But it's typically not something my older couples, 40 and older, will say that they feel initially upon meeting someone as they walk in on the blind dates that I arrange for them. Coaching clients come back to me after a first date and say, oh, I had that first date last night, and I don't know, I wasn't really feeling that there was much, they use the word chemistry sometimes for the spark, but they weren't feeling it, and they think that maybe they shouldn't waste their time or follow through, go for a second date. And here is the important part of this conversation between you and me. This dating coach, this matchmaker wants to tell you that the way to a spark is to learn more about this person, continue to spend time in their presence, continue to get outside of wherever it is you're meeting this person into different situations and have different experiences where that spark can come to light, where that spark can be ignited. I mean, honestly, sitting and drinking a cup of coffee at 2 p.m, you think there's going to be an incredible happening at 2 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon over a latte and a cappuccino? Really? Isn't that a little unrealistic when you think about it like that? And I'd also say that, can you picture 10 years from now? Do you think that whatever spark you have on this first date with this person, this pull, this draw towards them that feels a little magical and very strong, is going to feel the same after 5 or 10 years into a relationship with this person? Of course you're going to have intense feelings for this person. These are feelings of love, tenderness, caring, wanting the best for them, being partners with them through life. But would you call that a spark? Do you look forward to seeing this person? That's amazing. That's a fantastic thing to have with somebody. If you don't have a spark, but you want to see them again and you look forward to that, keep seeing them. Get to know them better. See if that spark happens. When you're confronted with free time, do you automatically think about this person and it would be nice to spend time with them? That if you do have time on your hands, you wonder if they're also free. You look forward to the next time they call. You're watching your phone. You're checking for texts. You're excited to see them when you have plans. These are all signs that that intense feeling is present. If it doesn't feel like a spark, carry on. Keep going. Get to know this person even more. I think you're finding your way to something special here. I will also say to you that if after 4 dates you find that it feels like there's no connection growing, you think this is a kind person, a nice person, but you don't feel like you can truly be yourself or that they make you feel excited to see them, you're not at your best, you're not your most amusing, you're not entertained by their stories, then for heaven's sakes, wish them well and let them go so that both of you can find somebody with whom you do connect. I'm not saying that connection isn't important. I'm just saying it's not always going to feel like a spark. You know, this made me think of something else as well. When people talk about having that spark immediately when they first meet somebody, it always makes me think about the movies. And I think about some actors and actresses, both male and female, who, when you see them in a picture or you first see them on screen, you sit in the theater, the lights go down and their face shows up, you're like, that's not a person that I find attractive. But the movie goes on. There's something in there that is very appealing about this character they're playing. And by the end of the movie, you're feeling very attracted to this character, this person on screen who has some interesting looks, not the ideal of what is classical beauty or a classically handsome face. These character actors who can really make our hearts go pitter patter. If we can allow ourselves to go on that journey in a movie with someone and fall for a character and the way they look, why would we not do this for a person we've met, connected with in person, and are gauging, trying to get to know trying to figure out and learn about to see if we could be compatible partners for long term. You would allow that gift to a movie star on the big screen who we're never going to meet, but not a real life person who's a viable possibility? I can assure you that this happens with real people in real life too. I have dozens and dozens of stories of people who have continued to get to know someone despite not feeling a spark on date 1 or 2, who are happily married at this point. Some of them have families, some are older on their second marriage and living life together, enjoying love again after having had it previously. So don't look for the negatives. Don't look and go, is there a spark? No, there's no spark. Wait to make that decision until you know this person at least as long as you would know them on the big screen if they were in a movie. Give them the opportunity to show you who they are and to be in a situation where they're not nervous on a first date. Perhaps you're not a person who gets nervous on a first date. That doesn't mean they're not. Even if they seem calm and collected to you, they could have a brain that's running circles around in there, unable to focus and show you who they truly are. So give them that gift of a couple more dates to explore the potential and find out if there could be a connection, even if it's not presenting at first as a spark. In fact, if you're truly serious about finding your partner, then I encourage you to ditch the entire concept of the spark and instead adopt the idea of curiosity. If you can instead focus on this curiosity instead of the spark, I guarantee you will end up much happier and much more likely to be with somebody special who you connect with romantically than if instead this spark thing is playing around on your cassette tape. Did that just age me? Oh well. Give the episode a thumbs up if you found it interesting or helpful. My mother is suggesting you do that as well. And if you would subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. So many people watching and not nearly as many subscribed. If you could help me out and do that, I would be grateful. Thank you. Again, appreciate you being here today. Until the next time, have a good one.